Hello, Jonathan.
What? We're live.
We are live.
Hello, Corey. How are you?
Great. Yeah, I'm excited to show this to everybody. This will be fun.
It's a special night tonight. It's a very special night tonight because
Why is that?
Because tonight's the night we're going to finally reveal the finished cartoon in its glory. All 4 minutes and 4 seconds of it.
Yep, I'm excited. That'll be fun. So this is technically episode 12 of Breaking the Chains.
So it's a 12-part series because this is it, baby.
Yeah, it's a 12-part series, and this will be the last time that I do this. This is the show where Lujan and Cory Kerr collaborate live.
And we are live.
We are live.
So for our thousands of viewers out there, you have any questions, just ask us questions.
Yeah, so what we're going to do today is we are going to premiere the thing, and we will be in the chat talking about it as we premiere it, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Do you want to talk about anything beforehand?
Let's just say, let's see, when did we start this? I wonder when the first day we started work on this was.
You know, we did a video about it, so I can find that out.
And while you're doing that, we always thought it would be done by the middle or end of February, we said, and we actually finished it about a week ago, so we kind of hit our target. Good job, Corey. Good job, gentlemen.
Yes.
And it was a lot of fun, and it was a lot of work, and it was a lot of controlled anxiety. And our friendship has weathered the storm, and I'm glad we did it. I'm totally glad. I'm very proud of it. I think it came out really good, and it made both of us appreciate our own work methods. I know that, but in a good way, not in a bad way, not in like I never want to go back there again. So I'm very happy with that.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know why this is out of order. There we go. 2 months ago.
2 months ago.
Episode 1. Let's see. We'll mute this. Let's see. December 14th.
Wow. So it took us from animating it and everything till we had till I hit the editing stage. It probably took us about a month and almost about a month and a half.
Yeah, I'd say about 6 weeks.
Yeah, about 6 weeks. And then I was animating for about a week. And here we are. It looks great. I think it looks really fantastic. I think the one thing I noticed, I'm always terrible with credits. And at the end of this, there's somebody I wanted to credit and I didn't. And if there's a way to fix it on YouTube, I will. But it's the person that owned a car that Wayne drives.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Natasha Adams is her name. So Natasha, if you're watching, I'm sorry I didn't credit you, but your car will live on in infamy. But yeah, if there's a way to add her name on somewhere, I don't know, I will. But I'll put it. Maybe we'll put it in the description or whatever. I don't know, but
yeah, and you could put a little. What are those called? They're not cards, but a little comment that pops up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Good idea. Good idea.
We have like VH1's pop-up videos.
So this is the premiere of it. This is not really like a YouTube premiere. This is just like our informal premiere. Yeah. Originally, I said it was going to come out tomorrow, but what I'll do is today's Thursday, the 25th, 2021, and I think after this airs, I will make it public. So a little bit.
Oh, cool.
I have a history of doing that, of releasing things like right before I say I'm going to release them. So, which is better than late, right?
Yeah.
Corey, a couple things before we play it. What do you want to say about this?
I want to know what your favorite part and least favorite part of doing it like this was.
Oh, for sure. I know the least, 100% the least. And you probably know what I'm going to say. What would you say would be my least favorite? And it's your right.
Breaking everything up into layers and planning it.
Actually, oh, you mean that? That wasn't my least favorite. It was the hardest part, but it didn't turn out to be my least favorite. I'll give you a hint. My least favorite part about this project is the same thing that's the least favorite part about my own projects. My own lip sync. Ding, 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 ding. You got it. Yeah. The lip sync. I hate doing, and we kind of were a little bit, and we'll get to playing it right now, but we kind of were a little bit hand-tied when it came to the lip sync on this, because as if you've been watching the show at all, you know that Cory he'd send me one version of a clip with no talking, with no lips moving, and then one version with the lips moving. So I didn't really have the luxury of saying, like, oh, he's saying, oh, here, or he's saying, I kind of had to cut it back and forth. But you know what? It kind of all works out because it's just such a wild method of animation that it kind of adds to the humor and the feel of it. If it didn't, I wouldn't want to release it. So it's all good. It's all good.
There's also, some of the technical challenges that we had was that we're not even using the same software.
Oh yeah. You're driving in a Lear jet, and I'm in like one of those Wright brothers, like.
And yet somehow you're going much, much faster than me. The Wright brothers handmade aircraft.
I know.
But yeah, I think that was a big challenge. Was we could have, if we were on the same software, we probably could have collaborated in a much different way. But instead, it was like a lot of rendering and sending renders back and forth.
Yeah. So. It also made me realize I don't know if I'm ever going to go to After Effects. It did make me research Adobe Animate. So I think Adobe Animate would be my backup plan if my computer ever fails. But until then, I told myself, it also made me realize that it taught me a lesson. Be happy with what you've got. Like, I have everything I need right now to do cartoons. So I'm going to squeeze this sponge as much as I can, get every drop out of my computer. And then once it stops working, then I'll move on to the next, thing.
Yeah, and I think Animate would be good for you because it's just Flash. They just call it Animate now, but it's Flash. It's not.
They should call it Fancy Flash.
Fancy Flash, yeah.
Fancy Flash.
They, I'm still annoyed at that. I don't know. We keep losing viewers. I keep watching. There was a guy that popped in for like 3 seconds, and he's like, "This is boring," and left. I assume that's what he said. I can't hear you in your homes, but.
We can actually hear you in your homes. You guys are disgusting.
But I don't.
All right. Well, I guess we should play the cartoon.
What was your favorite? What was your favorite part of doing it?
Oh, my favorite part of it. For sure. My favorite part of it is I know this sounds really funny, but the atmosphere. The atmosphere that was created. It was created through the depth of field, through his movements. Oh, the fact that you can use 26 frames per second or whatever you're using. Mm-hmm. That's one handicap I have on my computer. I want to use 26 frames per second, but I can't render 26 frames per second. I've tried. In fact, I tried 18 frames. I can't do anything over 12 frames per second.
The hamster just gets too tired.
The hamster gets too tired, and when it renders, it'll freeze. And so I know that's a limitation on my computer, but it makes me stay at like 10 to 12 frames per second or whatever I use. So the atmosphere is my favorite thing. The atmosphere that you created with the movements and everything. It was very easy to edit, except for the lip sync. It was hard, but like everything else was great, easy to edit, and it just flowed together really well. And you did a great job of animating. And like I said, I'm really happy with it. I was really happy with it. The sounds came out pretty good too.
Yeah.
And Malia did a great job. I'll have to use her again in a film. That's Cory's wife, in case you don't know. She did one of the voices. She did the main girl and the blonde girl in this. So you'll see.
Yeah.
So other than that, I just want to say the soundtrack is counterclockwise, a beat sent to me from Deacon Burns from Counterclockwise. And then I just added music over it. And that's pretty much it. And I'll tell you some tidbits after we watch it. But we'll set it up now. Let me know when you're ready, Cory.
Yeah, so I'm just going to mute us and we'll play it.
We'll be right back after this wonderful entertainment. Enjoy. Enjoy.
I pressed the complete wrong button. There we go.
Woo! Yeah! That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, like I was saying, we can go outside, check out my truck. You girls like to party? College girl, party.
We told you we're not in college.
Hooray! Nobody wants you here, man. Loser.
Oh, yeah, they got some of that college girl right there.
What's up, college girls? Why don't you go back to your rich boyfriend? Yeah, why don't you go back to the wine bar?
Or maybe a 9.
Here we go.
Right there with the hat on.
Oh, he just doesn't get it. Go away.
When you get so uptight, you know you want this.
Come
This guy's about 3 seconds away from getting maced.
dude, you need to be gone like now.
What is your problem?
Ow!
Stop it! Let her go. Hey!
Ow!
Get out of here.
Un momento, muchacho.
Hey, let go! Let go, man! Go back! Come here! Hey, what's your problem, man? I don't think you know who I am.
No, I don't know who you are, but I tell you who I am. Tonight, you can call me Pain.
I'm gonna bust you up.
Come at me, bro.
Hey, not in here. Take it outside. No, I just refinanced this place, man. Not cool.
Oh, this little guy's gonna get hurt.
Oh, I'm gonna bust you up, you little freak.
Well, hold up. If we're gonna fight, let's fight like real men. Let's take off our shirts, OG style.
I don't want to take off my shirt.
Hey, bro, take your shirt off, bro. Go ahead.
I don't want to take off my shirt, that's all.
Come on, man. Take your shirt off.
Take your shirt off.
I don't want to take off my shirt, that's all.
What's wrong?
No, man.
Man, you're embarrassing me.
All right. Take my shirt off. All right.
Ooh, that ain't a good look. Oh, no.
Let's do this.
All right, you big bully. You're about to get deep fried in fists.
All right, you want some of this?
Here's one for Tucson, one for the chicken heads. You pull a tiger by the tail, you're about to get clawed, bro ham.
That was awesome.
That is a bad hand.
He is like a little pit bull of sexiness.
Well, ladies, it's been real, but by the sound of it, the popo's on their way, and Wayne's got a skedaddle. Catch you on the flip side.
That car is the ball.
I told you were gonna get maced.
Oh, I can just hear the applause out there. All right. So, yes, the car was courtesy of Natasha Adams. It's a real car that I based it off of. And the real car is even more awesome. So, Cory, so by the way, I don't know if it was just my connection or what, but if it's choppy, or I notice on my connection, some of the scenes, like when stick for a little bit longer.
It's better. Yeah.
It'll be on YouTube. So if you go to, it'll probably be on both of our YouTubes eventually, but I know tonight it's on mine. So if you go to YouTube, jimlujan.com, you can see it there. You will see it there. But Cory, let's talk about your experiences with this. I know it was a different work method for you, but what are some of your favorite things and least favorite things, etc.?
My favorite thing was every time I would get like a new character design from you. It just cracked me up. The versatility that you have in your, like the people that you design. Like a lot of illustrators will draw like the same person but with a different haircut, or the same person with a different shirt on. But like I don't think anybody that you've ever drawn it looks like anybody else that you've ever drawn.
Thank you. I noticed, and then this just reiterated this. I noticed that's like one of my superpowers, to come up with these like crowd scenes of all these different people, and I don't labor over it either. I just do it really quick. So I think that's something I'm good at. The other thing I'm not good at is everything else.
I disagree. I like the dialogue and the voices. Those are fun.
Yeah. Malia did a great job. So, and then Deacon Burns from Counterclockwise plays, her name's Denise. He plays the girl that gets grabbed. I played the other girl, the one that says, "That car's the bomb." That was me. I'm Unchained Wayne. I did his voice. I did actually most of the other voices in this. Who else is in this? There's some in the crowd panning scene. There's some mixed voices in there. My friend Neeson is mixed in there, and my friend Charlie Rossman, as well as you, Cory Kerr, are in that scene mixed with Malia. So
yeah.
But I found there's a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor, as you know. With animation, it just kind of happens because sometimes you like, oh, look how good the hand moves right there. But it's like, if I keep it in there, the scene's going to be awkwardly long. So there's a lot of cutting going on. But you seem to be okay with that. I never got a weird feeling.
Yeah. No, that's just part of it. And I would always render, 5 seconds on either end of where I think the longest cut of that scene might be, just to give you whatever you needed to kind of edit it. Yeah. The Cory Kerr version of this will come out, and it's 23 minutes long and horrendously boring, but it has every frame that I animated in it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get this on your page too, as well. I'll upload the file for you so you can play it on your site. But it was a great experiment. I had a lot of fun doing it. I really do wonder if anyone's gonna watch this video or these videos, these 12 videos. That's like a day worth of entertainment.
I've heard from quite a few people that they've been enjoying it.
Really?
So yeah.
Wow.
I mean, quite a few relative to my normal, audience, which isn't. It's not like I have thousands of people that watch my live streams, but
it's ironic because my audience is usually my relatives. So,
right.
But it would be. I haven't gone back and read the comments, so if you liked it, leave a comment. It definitely, we didn't hold anything back with this. It wasn't like we prepared stuff and then we would meet and be like, let's just make it look like we made this up on the fly.
Right.
We got to see all of the meetings that we had. I think maybe we had like 1 or 2 phone calls, but it was like, hey, Cory, I need this. Or, hey, Jim, can you send me this?
Most of that, I think, was text message. I think.
Yeah. Just like emergency.
Anytime we started talking, we'd just go live.
Yeah. Like, and it was very, very nice and very satisfying to work with somebody who, works as hard at stuff as I do, or is, I don't want to say takes it seriously, but you know what I mean. You got to take being silly serious.
Yeah.
You get stuff.
Well, yeah. Finishing things is important. And it's sad to me that is a rare skill, because I don't want to say it's not hard, but you just decide that you're going to do it and then you do it.
Yeah. I mean, do you think it's the instant gratification of these modern times that we live in? Do you think it's that why people like to start stuff and not finish? They're
I don't know.
distracted.
I don't think it's a new problem. I think once the excited emotion of making a decision wears off, there's the grind, and I think most people aren't comfortable with being uncomfortable for that period of time. I mean, I enjoyed doing this, but I didn't enjoy it the entire time. And
Yeah,
I
of
think that's
course.
true of any
Yeah.
project I've ever done.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, they run into that low point in a project, and they're like, they kind of don't push through that. They don't still do it. They don't work. You know, they I don't know. I'm assuming they just only work when it feels good, and that you're never going to finish a project that way.
Yeah. Also, too, I think with this project, the project kind of led us rather than us leading the project. And the way I feel about that was, and it's like that with my own stuff too. It's like, oh, we did this because this is what we could do. And we maxed it out. Like we pushed everything we could do at the moment. We pushed it because we didn't want to work on this for 2-3 years.
Right. Yeah.
6 weeks.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I would say get some really good marriage advice years before I was married. And it was just, just find somebody who's your speed, like it's not like there's good or bad speeds, but you got to find somebody who's kind of in the same lane as you. And so, I mean, there are some people that they'll work on stuff when it feels right for them. And I'm fine with that. The thing that bugs me is when people that don't finish stuff complain about not finishing stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's within their control.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think before the internet, but 20 years ago, maybe when the internet was just starting, but I know for a fact it was more about, look, I have this project that's finished. Here's this thing I made. Let's talk about it. And then it became, and I'm a fan of this stuff too, but then it became, look at this idea that I'm making happen. And it became, and we did it too. And I think they're just, right now there's probably, it seems like there's more of that than there is the actual product a lot of times. I mean, there's a lot, well, at least on my YouTube feed, it sends me very few animated films. It sends me a lot of people, making comics or making, whatever they're making, which is fine. And I watch it and I like it. And sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's like very inspirational and we're doing it right now, but we finished something. So
yeah. I mean, I can make, 12 videos in the time that it takes to behind the scenes videos in the time that in the 6 weeks that it takes to do, 4 minutes of animation.
I'm gonna talk to you like a fan for a second and embarrass you, but for one, I'm absolutely amazed, confounded, and it is complete foreign to me, the power of your mind, because just the way you think about things and think things through, it's like, wow, Cory, you'd make a great terrorist. You'd be the best. You'd win all the terrorist awards. I'm glad you're on our side, because
I like that. That's where you went.
Yeah, I should have probably said, I'm glad you're on our side first, and then the terrorism in. But I mean, the way you approach problems is amazing. It's like you don't get stressed out. You break it up in your mind and you go, very, very methodically, but in a smart way, a really smart way. You don't seem to get overwhelmed, and then it works. Like I would, if you built a plane, I would trust you. If I built a plane, I would buy life insurance. So.
You shouldn't extend your trust into anything I build physically. I'm okay.
No.
I'm okay digitally. but if I built a plane, I would not get in that plane.
Okay. All right. Design wise, you're a genius. So I was very impressed with that. I was, and then the other thing, I this is the part where I was saying you make a great terrorist, I'm making a joke, but because you're so, like you would say, okay, I've rigged this algorithm so that the eyebrow, when it raises the bottom eyelid. And normally when your bottom eyelid raises, the fluid in your eye increases. So I've run this other app here, and and I'm like, oh my God, Cory, my head hurts. Stop it. It's like it's insane the way that your mind really does think more detailed than most people. I don't know if you realize or not, but you're very like, and the fact of it is, a lot of people can think that way, but they usually end up it's usually like people will say like, okay, you've got a disorder because you're thinking like that. you have it so like controlled and so useful. Now I can see, like, now everything makes sense. It's like, oh, that's why Cory's so good at this, because it's just the way you think. It's very productive. You have a very productive mind.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. To me, that's just, I don't know. I don't think I make a conscious effort of noticing those things, but as you're doing it, it's not like I sit there and I go, what do people's eyeballs do? But when I'm animating an eyelid, I don't know. In my mind, is this not normal that, like, can you do like an exploded view of something? Like if you see it, I can look at like the eye, right? The reason that I was moving the bottom eyelid was because in my mind, I know that the cornea of your eye is a little bit bumpier, right? It bulges out a little bit more than the rest of your eye. Like your eye isn't a perfect sphere.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I was thinking, well, how do you depict that? And like, as I'm doing this, you can see my eyelid move with my eye. And so I just thought it would be funny to do that.
I think
in my head, I've always been able to like I tell this story to my students how there was a spider that trapped me in my basement one time because it was in between me and the stairs, and it was a big hairy spider. It was nasty, but somebody told me one time that spiders don't have muscles. And I was like, oh, that's weird, right? Because like when we move, we have a very organic, normal movement.
Yeah.
It's like, it speeds up in the middle and it slows down at the end. Spiders have a very jerky movement, right? And the reason is that they work on pneumatics. Their exoskeleton is hollow, so they send like pressurized goo into their leg and it extends their leg. But just like a tractor, when you force air into a piston, it's not like a normal organic movement. It's a very mechanical, weird, creepy movement. And when they pull their leg back, it's because they're pulling pressurized goo out of their leg, and so it pulls it back. So anyway, I saw this spider, and in my mind, I got kind of that one of those heads-up display, like rotating views of it.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing all this pressurized goo inside of it, and it rendered me completely incapable of stepping on it because I started to imagine like there's probably like a little bit of resistance before the exoskeleton crushes, and I started to imagine like as I stepped down, I would probably like feel, it's a big enough spider where I'd feel that resistance before it crunched. And then I started to think like, well, once that pressurized goo is on the outside, like, will it change the smell in the room? Like, will I smell the goo when I lift my foot up? Is it going to be like a cheese pizza? Am I going to have like goo strings that like slowly thin out that are attached to the floor and attached to my foot, and they finally snap and like whip around? So I just couldn't. So I just got a can of hairspray and a lighter and I lit it on fire, and thinking that it would just die immediately. And it didn't. It chased me. So it started running at me while it was on fire, which is even more terrifying. And I just screamed.
And was that the first house you burned down?
That's the first one, yeah.
Okay, great.
The next morning at breakfast,
6 houses, so that's good.
the next morning at breakfast, Malia said, "Hey, Cory, do you know why there's a bunch of scorch marks in the basement?"
Okay, now when you started telling the story, I thought you were 12 years old.
Oh no, this was I was 33. So,
I can't wait to tell Leanne about how spiders move their arms. I never knew that.
but like little tiny facts like that just stick in my head. They're totally useless to me until I need to animate a spider, or whatever. Anyway, so I mean, you know why they
definitely
contacts?
Definitely opposites attract, because there's stuff I do where you're like, wow, that's so, like, I can't believe you do it that way. Like, that's incredible. And I think the same thing with your stuff. It's not like we're definitely not in competition with our methods.
No, I mean, the thing that I find, anything to me that I don't understand just feels like magic. And like, you can just like write a song. Like, you can just sit down and just compose music. Like, that to me is like some sort of alchemy where you're just pulling things out of the air that weren't there before. My brain doesn't even function on a level where I can even understand how that works. That is amazing to me.
You can read a book, and I'm like, how does he do that? How does he read a book?
I've been meaning to talk to you about an adult literacy program.
There's no pictures in this book. What?
Most of the books I read have pictures. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know, that's true, actually. I'm giving you way too much credit.
It's not like, well, I guess this is that one. That's the complete works of Shakespeare, which I've taken off the shelf to read, but I want to someday. And then I've got 8 feet on 2 shelves of graphic novels. So there's one.
Isn't 8 feet on 2 shelves? Isn't that Russell Crowe's band?
Yeah, 8 feet on 2 shelves. They kind of post-hardcore. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting.
Really good band. By the way, kids, Google that Russell Crowe's band, and you'll really laugh at that joke. You'll be like, "Oh, that was a good one, Jim."
I was explaining to a student today. You know how when you tell a joke and then you have to explain it after the joke, it just means it's not a good joke.
Is it a joke at that point, or is it a?
It's a grenade joke.
One of the reasons I picked Unchained Wayne for this cartoon, and I've told you this many times, because I picked like the furthest thing that I've done kind of from your cartoons.
Yeah.
Something like a bar fight, like a guy in a bar and a bar fight. And I don't know, it was fun. It was fun having you animate it, and I think you got a kick out of, like you said, some of the drawings and stuff like that.
I mean, it's interesting because I would get like the main antagonist, the main villain guy, who we called Jock Bro the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I got that drawing, and to me, like, there wasn't any other choice of how to animate his mouth. Like, he just looked like a guy who would constantly be accidentally like having spittle fly out of his mouth, and his lips just be flapping all over the place.
Yeah.
And so when that was the fun part for me. That's what I mean by those characters, is like, to me, like, when I design a character, as I'm designing the character, I'm thinking about how they're going to move. But in this case, one of his kind of cronies, one of his flunkies that was with him, Curtis, the blonde one with the rat tail. Immediately upon seeing him, I was like, he's going to have the shakes. He's going to have the shakes the whole time. He's never going to stop moving. He's just going to have all these little,
I like that. Yeah.
Because he just looks like a guy that was just constantly, constantly shaking.
Yeah. Very sketchy. Yeah, you brought a whole nother level to everything too, with the breathing, with his gut, and I learned a few things too from your animation. Like, I learned, like, oh, I could use this trick a little bit in my animation. The one thing I won't use for sure, I'm not going to cut up the faces. I will not cut up the faces, but I will, like, the body breathing and stuff, little things like that. Like, Yeah. And then I found myself like I'm working on a new thing, and I did the first artwork for it today, and I found myself. I swear to God, I found myself going, "Well, how would Cory do this?" And then I went, "Okay, but I'm not Cory. I'm not going to do that." You know, and like go back to Jim. But yeah, I really did think that. I was like, "How would Cory would probably break this up and do this?"
Come over to the dark side of doing.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's for if anything, at least it has me asking the question, so that there'll be some times where I bring some Cory along with me. But just like you,
yeah.
I'm sure you'll have some really good cheats from Jim. So
The biggest thing for me that, and I've been saying this for years. I say that as if I've been animating for years. I've been animating for about 2 years, so there are plural years in there. But the whole time I'm like, and I keep telling Josh and Scott, I do too much work. Like I'll rig a background character as if I need him to do like a backflip and a cartwheel and have every facial expression ever.
yeah.
I just need him to stand there and
Right.
not move. Like he,
Right.
you know, so everybody that I'm doing, I'm like, all right, I need to cut up their arm and I need to have 15 little hand movements, and every joint on their finger needs to be articulated. And then I'll spend 3 days rigging this character and designing this character. And I'm like, oh, he waved and that was it. He was on the
Yeah.
screen for a second.
Totally. Yeah. And I even with the background characters in this, at first I was thinking, oh, this is so cool working with Cory. Every background character is going to be like, you know, like just
Right.
moving and stuff. And then I realized it, and then there's scenes where they kind of do that. I realized those shots don't work as well as the ones where they're just standing. It's like,
Yeah.
it's almost like a distraction in a way. Like you're noticing the animation, you know?
Right.
So we found that out early on. So then it became like, okay, it's just, you want the main character to be the center of attention. Every else thing is ambience. Everything else is ambience. So,
Yeah. And so I've been cutting back a little bit, but I mean, it's interesting to me how much people don't notice.
yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. For
if you
sure.
tell them to look at a certain part of the screen, they're going to look at that part of the screen. It almost doesn't matter what else is going on because that's going to be in the peripheral.
I mean, I obviously take more from, this is actually serious, not even a joke. I take more from Ralph Bakshi's Spider-Man cartoons than I do from the Lion King or, you know,
Right.
or Cinderella or something, because I'm not trying to do the on the ones, you know, I'm not trying to do the, where are they going? You know, I'm trying to like, how can I tell a story? And I kind of like the comic booky feel too, where the art like, and how can I tell a story? How can I animate it so that the animation is not a distraction, even in a bad way? Like, wow, this animation's crappy. I can't get past this. How could I edit it? How could I build a world? And then you hit the nail on the head when you said characters. That's my number one thing. It's like, how can I make compelling characters? So that's kind of where I go with it. And I find also, and this was a good example, the characters, it sounds very corny because they say this a lot in Hollywood, but they say, the characters just kind of tell you where to go and what story to, but it kind of is true. I know what they mean when they say that. This story was kind of led by that too, because when I had the idea in my head, the Jock Bro character, it was a little bit different than the way it turned out. And the way it turned out, it was actually kind of cool. I thought it was like, oh, it changed a little bit. I mean, it stayed on the path the whole time, but coming up with the idea and then seeing him being fleshed out, it kind of lent itself to some other stuff. And I like that. I like the ability to ad lib.
Well, and initially the joke was going to be that Wayne drives off in like the crappiest car imaginable, you know, dragging on the ground, and the girls would kind of be like, oh,
I didn't expect that.
Cooler.
Yeah. But then I met Natasha at the park, and she was getting filmed or interviewed for Car and Driver magazine because she has her car looks like that car kind of, except
you took me a picture.
Yeah, it doesn't say Terror of Tucson on the side or anything. Check her out on Instagram, Natasha Adams. But her car's a Lexus, and it's like a 4x4 you know, like Alexa. It's an off-road Lexus.
Yeah,
And
it's lifted and it's got huge.
it's incredible. Yeah. But yeah, that when I saw that car, actually, my wife Leanne and I were at the park, and I'm Leanne. I don't know if Leanne suggested. She's like, you should ask her if she wants you to draw her car. I said, no, you should ask her because I don't want to be a creepy old guy going up to some young girl. Hey, gang, your car. But she was super nice, and I was excited to put the car in there. So, and now if I do another Unchained Wayne movie, that's going to be his Batmobile from now on.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So like little happy accidents like that, little things. And it really does psych me up. I know this sounds funny, but it really does psych me up to do my own cartoon. And I don't mean it in a way like, oh, I'm glad to get past this, but it's kind of like my cartoon is the dessert, and this was a really good dinner. You know, this was a really good dinner. Like this dinner was like, oh my God, but like I've been looking forward to dessert all day, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is. And I'm sure now that you finish this and you have multiple other projects, I know for pay, but I bet you when you get back to Endo Exo, that you're going to be like renewed. Like you're going to be like, okay, it's Cory time.
Well, and I think the biggest difference between us is not that, you know, software or style of animation. We tell drastically different stories, and that's the biggest one for me. Is I kept saying, you know, like I want this to be like a huge like anime fight, and you're like, I want it to be like the lamest fight ever. Yeah. And I'm like, I want him to punch him in slow motion. We'll see his face like, like, no, we're just gonna like hit him, and we'll sort of hear a sound effect, but I want it to be not impressive.
I like mine because your fights are the guy getting hit and their head spins 5 times and then their eyes go, and then, you know, they go through a brick wall. My fights are the same feeling that if you saw a 73-year-old woman kick her shin really hard on a glass table, you go, oh, like that. That's kind of the feeling of my fights. They're ugly. They're like, oh, that's ugly. It's not like super action, but like getting hit right there, like that noise is like meat hitting the floor. It's like, I like that. I like mine are like real fights. They're very awkward. Yeah. They're awkward and they're not pretty.
Well, I think
I'm actually, Cory, and that's actually I told a lie because I've never even seen your fights, like what your animated fights would look like.
I don't think I've ever done. I did. The only fight scene I've ever done is an animatic of a short that I haven't finished yet, and it was the short that I used to start to learn animation. And I think now, I was telling you, I think now I could get it done in like 3 or 4 weeks. But back then I was like, it took 100 days just to figure out what was going on. I think I got like 2 characters rigged and like 10 seconds of animatic. I didn't even get any real animation. You know, I got like a walk cycle or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, at this pace, this is a 10-year project. So I abandoned it, or put it on hold because I don't want to spend 10 years on anything. You know, and I have like project ADD. But now I think I can finish really fast, but I'll show you sometime. I've got a fight scene where a rhinoceros beetle attacks a family of pill bugs, of roly-polies.
Oh wow.
And it's full on anime with like speed lines and like he runs up and then like his shell opens and he takes flight and you see him like fly up in the air and he does like a backflip and then dives straight down into the ground and does like a superhero landing. Yeah. And then he like flips them, you know, and starts. Yeah, it's like a full on stupid.
So I like anime probably as much as you like 80s heavy metal. There's probably some 80s heavy metal where you're like, oh, that's a pretty good song. I like that song. Yeah. But like if you were on a car trip, you could not put it on. You'd be like, okay, next.
Yeah,
You know?
no, my wife tries to listen to 80s music a lot, and I'm
Yeah, exactly. So,
we're alone enough that you could just do that then.
so
We're together, let's not.
there are things about there's things about anime that I'm super super impressed by and envious of, and just am blown away by it, and I think it's great. But there's other things about and the rest of it, and I'm like, you know, not really my cup of tea. But you know, but you know, that's just to each their own. But in a weird way, I'm actually, I would say I'm influenced by anime in a weird way, in a way that it'd be hard to tell, but just their approach, I guess you could say, or
Yeah.
the how they don't hold back, they'll tell any story, you know.
Yeah, and when you're watching anime, I don't think people really notice what they're not doing. There are so many things they don't do. You know, like sometimes the dialogue is so engaging and the story is so interesting that you don't notice that they have just been slowly zooming in on a still frame.
Yeah, I like that.
For like 10 seconds.
I find that inspiring. I really do. I find that inspiring because,
Yeah.
well, yeah, there you go. I can tell a story. But
I was watching a Spider-Man cartoon with my 2-year-old about an hour ago, and I noticed some stuff like that. Like I noticed
which Spider-Man?
I don't know. I think it's one of the more. It's just called Spider-Man, but it's got to be one of the more recent ones.
Okay.
It didn't have like a subtitle or anything. I don't know. I'll have to look up when it came out, but it's on Disney Plus, and it's made much more for a younger crowd. Like he kind of explains everything, and there's a lot more action. Some of the Spider-Man stuff is kind of aimed at like 9 to 13-year-olds because he's got that kind of angsty, you know, nothing works and everything is out to get me, and you know I fail all the time kind of who Spider-Man is. As a 40-year-old, I find Spider-Man kind of annoying, but as a 14-year-old, I was like, yeah, he gets me, you know. But I tried to watch some of those ones that I loved as a kid, and Maddox was super bored. He was like out. But this one I played for him, and you know, and he's like Spider-Man flying, you know, he's just, you know, enough going on. But what I saw was, it was interesting, is there's Peter Parker and Osborn are like walking down the street, and it caught my eye, this background character who was looking up at a skyscraper, and I was waiting for him to move, and he never moved. He was just the whole time just him and his girlfriend. I don't know why they were like, it was so distracting that they weren't like talking to each other. Because like it seemed like I should see them like point or gesture or like jump in the air, because there's a lot of life to the character, but it was a still image. They were just, you know, the two people that were talking were just walking past.
If it was Bakshi Spider-Man from the 60s, you would never notice because hardly anybody moves that much in it.
Right.
And do you think Maddox would like that Bakshi Spider-Man?
I don't know.
It'd be very interesting. Be very interesting. There's something about it, though, I think kids would like, because it looks like a comic book.
Yeah.
It really looks like a comic book come to life. But are kids even into that style of comic book? Because I know when I was a kid, I wasn't a Jack Kirby fan as a little kid.
Right.
Until you get older and you start appreciating the art, then you realize, oh, he's the man. But as a little kid, I thought those are old-fashioned comics.
Yeah. I didn't really get into comics until probably like junior high school era. So like as a kid, I mean, we were pretty broke, so I didn't have any like disposable income to do anything. But and we lived in a really small town. Like the nearest comic book store is like 30 miles away, which before you have a driver's license might as well be like 10,000 miles away. Because
wow.
But anyway, I don't know. I also think we were a little starved for entertainment. Kids these days, they have so many options.
Yeah.
for cartoons and for, I mean, like for us, it was like if it wasn't on one of 3 channels and you were, you know, you had to be there when it was on, you didn't see it. You know, like and nowadays, you know, anything that has ever existed, it can just be beamed from a satellite orbiting the Earth into a glass rectangle in your hand that you speak to, and you're just like, you know, play the 2002 Cartoon Network Spider-Man.
I remember waking up for Spider-Man and His Amazing Friend. I mean, it was on like at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was not a little kid. I was probably 12 or 11. And I remember how like you woke up and you saw the beginning of it, and you're like, what's the story going to be this week? And then when it was over, it was done. And then VHS. I mean, we had VHS, but I mean, I'm old enough to remember when we didn't have VHS. You know, so
I don't think I am. I think we always had VHS. I think the only cartoon I ever taped. Did you ever see the Dennis the Menace cartoon?
I'm familiar with it, but I never saw it. It was on CBS, wasn't it?
What's that?
Wasn't it on CBS?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, back then, I don't think I was aware enough
I
of
think it might have been
channels, but yeah, I mean, I remember taping it, and I remember like I would sit there with the remote, and I'd try to be all fancy and like pause it when the commercial came on, so that when I came back to watch it later, it'd be like a clean cut between the fade out and the fade in.
Yeah.
But
like a little director.
Yep. Yeah, so there's that, and then I watched a lot of other cartoons, but I think that's the only one I ever like recorded. Like I remember saving up my money, like I like mowed lawns or I'd do whatever to buy a VHS tape. Like it was mine. I owned, and I could put whatever I wanted on this VHS tape.
That's kind of cool. And did you record at the 6-hour mode or the 4-hour mode?
Oh, full on 6 or 12-hour mode, like the worst quality possible, because it cost me so much money. In my mind, the bucks that it cost me was like, you know, weeks of work.
Remember this, VHS tapes, especially at first, VHS tapes were not the ratio of expense for a VHS tape was not relative to modern times, like what you would pay for a DVD, blank DVD, or whatever medium now. But they were kind of expensive each.
Yeah.
Every tape was like, I remember back then, tapes were like, weren't they like between $5 and $7 each at least? Or
they were. I remember them being a lot, because I remember hoarding writable DVDs and writable CDs, like CD-ROMs, or CDRWs or whatever they called, that you could like write them. Yeah. I remember thinking, this freaking spindle, this giant spindle, it's got like 50 of these, and it cost me like $15.
I know.
I thought, you know, as a late teen, early 20-year-old, I thought somebody's going to catch on.
Yeah.
And raise the price of this. There's no way this is a sustainable business model for these people. So I think I still have like half a spindle of writable DVDs or something.
Everyone does right now. Everyone. I'll just one thing I'll say: the technology that I miss, that I thought was a really good time, was the DVD. When the DVDs first came out, because it allowed me to sell a product. It allowed me to make artwork for a product, and it was like a little booklet, you know, and you could have artwork inside, or you could have, it gave you room for cover design. It gave you, it was a nice commodity. And then I printed a bunch of those up and would go to Comic-Con and proceed not to sell them, or very few of them. But I was very excited because I could come up with it was like a new book. Every year, a new book, a new project. Yeah. And I do miss that. However, I really like the digital delivery method now. It's better than I've ever. This is what I had dreamed of. How it is now I mean, putting stuff on YouTube or getting stuff on a platform like Amazon, or putting stuff, whatever. There's a million places. And that's it. It's just a file. You don't have to send. You don't have to send something over. I love that. I love uploading. I really do. So I think that's the trade-off. The question is, how does one make money at it now?
Right.
And seldomly is the answer.
I still think there's room for physical media.
Is there?
I think so.
Is there in a retro way? There is, but is there really a,
Yeah, I still think so.
Yeah.
We've got a hello from It's Funny that Kobe Bryant died.
Where? Oh my God. Is that a robot? Because that can't be a real name.
I don't know. I assume they just want me to say that on the air.
And you did. Good job, Cory.
I did. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think it's, so here's the thing. So with streaming services, like stuff comes and goes, right? And with some stuff, like I've seen people build up like a digital library of things. He says he's real. Okay. That's good. I'm glad you're real. You build up a library of things, and then like somebody like decides, oh, we're going out of business. Like that happened with like Voodoo. People like bought all these digital movies and TV shows and everything, and then all of a sudden Voodoo's like, well, we're out, and then you don't have that stuff anymore. You don't own it. Like, and so, but like I bought a DVD, and I still own that DVD, and the company that makes that DVD can go out of business and completely cease to exist and burn all of the copies of whatever that they still have in there, whatever. But I still have a copy of my DVD, and they can't take it from me. I still think there's some value in that. And I think, it's funny to me that there are times where I know I have the DVD or the Blu-ray or whatever, and I'll still stream it because I just don't want to get off.
Yeah. I'm the same way, and I kind of think that physical.
Oh, did you freeze, Jim? Come back to us.
Can you see me? Okay, I don't remember freezing. Sorry. Tell me if I freeze again. I kind of think physical media will come back because I don't think digital is going to be the only way from now on.
Yeah.
I think people will, like you said, will kind of want to be able to play stuff in their own, but it's just so convenient though. That's the cool thing about it.
Oh, sure.
And it's kind of like, it's the same thing with music, how vinyl is still around. There's a reason vinyl's still around, but because it's vinyl and it feels like vinyl and it feels good to people and blah, blah, blah.
I think the reason that vinyl is around is because people enjoy buying big things.
Yeah. Oh,
it's not cool to like, there's nothing cool about downloading an MP3 or streaming it on Spotify. Like I like it. And I love that I can just pop my phone onto the little magnetic thing on the dash and, push a button and it plays any song that's ever been written ever. But it's not like the experience of doing that isn't cool. But the experience of like pulling vinyl out of the sleeve, that's cool. Flipping through this giant, whatever it is, 12 by 12, printed cardboard thing with the booklet on the inside and everything, putting the needle down, like, oh, that is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's some, that's even, I think analog stuff is cooler than digital stuff, even physical digital media. Analog is always going to be cooler.
What's not cool is hooking up wire speakers that have to connect. That's not cool. That's a dumb technology, and that will never be cool and go away. I love record players, but I've always hated wire speakers. I'm talking about with the little connectors, and you have to put them in. I know some people probably love that. They're like, it's the tactile feel. It's like, no. Because you're walking by and you kick a wire and it's like unplugged. That's no good,
Or you're like me and Yep. I drilled a hole in my wall to run some wires from this room to my projector room, where I've got a little theater room in the basement. And it's still just a hole in the wall. I haven't like plugged it up or made it look nice or done whatever with it. It's still just, a really long HDMI cable.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of wires at all. So I love wireless, but
yeah,
I think there's a middle ground. But so Cory, we hit the hour mark. Before we go, let's just mention real quick what each one of us are working on now that we're done with an Unchained Aggression.
Yes.
So you go first.
Oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah. What can we expect soon?
Sorry, what?
What can we expect from you soon?
So I have a comic, which you can get at my website, corykerr.com, for free. It's 4 pages. And I'm going to do the next installment of that. So I'm going to do another short story in the From Hell's Heart world. And then I'm going to do the second episode of Endo Exo. And I am currently illustrating some characters for a music video that somebody has hired me to do. So those are kind of the 3 things.
What's the timeline on the music video?
A couple months. So
cool.
We're doing it in a phased situation. She got burned by somebody who charged her a bunch of money and then turned in the crappiest looking art. It was awful, like really bad. And so, so I said, hey, instead of doing the whole thing, let's do a phased thing. And you can decide after you see what I do, if you want to move on. If it looks like garbage, then it's your art and you can keep it because you paid for it. But if you love it, then I'll make it move for you and we can move on from there. So I'll finish up, what is it, Thursday? So maybe by the end of the weekend, I'll have all 4 of those characters done, depending on if I hear back from her in a reasonable amount of time.
Isn't it nice not having to animate my stuff anymore, though?
A little bit.
Yeah, you're not going to miss it. I get it. I know.
No, you know what it is? You know what I've learned? And I think this is the same thing with anything. It's not you. It's that I just hate not working on my own stuff. I've really enjoyed it. I've collaborated with you. I've collaborated with Scott Circlin. I've collaborated with Joshua Kemble, where all 3 of you drew the stuff and I made it move. And I enjoy that. I enjoy the process of collaborating. I enjoy that. I think it's something that most people, anybody who hasn't done something like this, they don't understand like how well you get to know somebody. You become really good friends or mortal enemies. One of those 2, working on something like this. So I really enjoy all of that. But every time I do it, I just think you like your own. I just think you like your own style and your own flavor. Yeah. And it's not to say that I don't like your stuff or Josh's stuff or Scott's stuff. I love all 3 of those. It's great, but I think it's fun to just do everything. And that's one of the reasons why some stuff takes me a little bit longer, is because I end up doing stuff I shouldn't do, like trying to do the sound design and stuff like,
yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So those are the 3 things I'll do. And, one of those is for money and it's a really cool client. She's really nice and her music is awesome. But I'm doing it for money. I'm not doing it because I am going to enjoy it. I'm doing it because she's paying me. And the other 2 I'm doing because it's fun. But I did send a message to my buddy who he voiced several characters in Endo Exo episodes 0 and 1. And also he was the voice for the Congressional Battle Dome with the robots that replace.
Oh yeah.
I sent him a note today, and I said, "Hey, let's just do something silly and stupid. I've been doing too many important things lately that are too serious, and they're not. I just want to do something goofy." And so I don't know what that is, but that'll flesh out in the next few weeks, I think.
That's cool. That's really cool. See, now I got you hooked on Goofy now.
I like Goofy. Most people think I'm really serious, but I actually really enjoy goofy stuff.
Well, I know that from our personal talks. So that's for that. And okay, I'll tell you what I'm working on. I immediately, I fought the urge to do this while we were working on an Unchained Aggression, but I immediately am starting my new project.
I fought the urge and the urge won. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And now I'm going to train in vain, and I might stay, or should I go? I don't know. But I'm going to announce the title for the new project on Monday. The official unveiling of the project on Monday.
Give us like an elevator pitch teaser. Like what's the story about?
Okay, I'll give you. It's about a housewife who a figure from her past shows up and throws her life into chaos.
Okay.
And temptation. But not in the way you're thinking. It's just very, but it's really, really funny and bizarre. And it's probably going to be in about a 20-minute or so movie. And it's again, I'm dipping into the well. Is that the right? No, dipping into the whatever.
Yeah.
Catalog. Yeah, this is an idea I've had for a couple of years. So pretty much everything I do, except for an Unchained Aggression, pretty much everything I do is an idea that I've had for a couple of years, because it kind of like gets to sit there and germinate and kind of grow. And, over the years I think about it and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll change this. So that's why usually when I get to them, I am able to the stories move pretty quickly because they've been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those, and I can't wait to do it.
Your secret is that 20 years ago, you sold your soul to a pixie who gave you all of the ideas for all of your cartoons. So now you just pick which one of those that she has on the list.
And the pixie was named Black Francis.
Black Francis, right? Yeah.
Yes. And now
oddly an Irish pixie, which very rare. So
yes. So stay tuned for on Monday, and thanks for everybody. Oh, patrons of mine, and I don't know if you did the same thing, Cory, but have had access to this Unchained Aggression for a week now. So
I need to get my Patreon going. I don't have it, but I've been focusing on the indie review show. And there's a Patreon there and stuff. So,
okay. By the way, congratulations on the indie review show.
Thanks.
And, do you guys have a URL for YouTube, like YouTube /?
Yeah, if you just not yet because we don't have enough people because it's super new. But if you go to, I've got a button here. Nope, that's not it. Where is it? Oh, they've edited it. All right, hold on.
It's the one that says jimlujan.com.
Yeah. So if you go to irsagency.com, that'll take you to the page where it has the schedule and everything. And I knew this would happen, and I told Josh would happen. People are nervous to go to this website because they think it's the actual IRS agency. But it's not. But if you go to irsagency.com, it'll give you what we're doing. And I am doing Lady Killer on Monday by Joelle Jones and Jamie Rich, and it is one of my favorite books. It's set in like the 1950s kind of Mad Men era, and it is a housewife who works for an assassination agency, and so that she's like a hitman, and she uses her like selling Tupperware door to door or Mary Kay door to door as a way to like just go kill people. And it's
awesome.
I'm so
wait.
I love it. So, and we've got some user comments this time.
Oh, cool.
Something from Gary. And so, if anybody wants to get in and be on the show live, go to irsagency.com and read Lady Killer, and then tell us what you think of Lady Killer, and we will play your comments on the air if they are worth playing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations. Cory, thank you so much for animating this and Unchained Aggression. It was a pleasure to work with you. I had the added bonus of you collaborated twice with 2 people that I know ahead of time. So you and I already knew going into this, we already knew, okay, it'll hit rough waters at some point where we'll be fatigued. So we kind of knew that going in.
Yeah.
And even though it was fatiguing, even when that was happening, I think we were able to keep our wits and keep some joy in the project. And it was just a pleasure working with you. And I'm glad we did it. Thank you.
Yeah. It was super fun. And if anybody's watching this and they have no idea what we're talking about, you can go to corykerr.com/chains and watch all 12 of these episodes where we live streamed every meeting that we had as we collaborated on this animation. If you want to watch the animation, go to jimlujan.com and that'll take you to his webpage, his YouTube page, and it'll be the most recent one called Unchained Aggression.
You got it. So going live tonight. All right. Thanks, everybody. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for commenting. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend.
We are going to get a copyright strike on this video because of all the songs we keep singing.